Hello everyone, welcome to my sewing studio. Today we are going to discuss knit fabrics specifically for children's clothes, and I have 3 knit fabrics to recommend and 2 that I recommend you avoid. And I'm also going to talk about resources where you can actually find those knit fabrics. So before we dive in though, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa, the owner and designer of Pink Holly Bush Patterns. At Pink Holly Bush, we help moms and grandmoms add love with every stitch as they create easy care garments with unique details that children adore. Now, if you've hung around for a while, you know that usually those unique details are some sort of handwork. I love to add smocking or embroidery to my designs, but of course you don't have to add that to the pattern if you would prefer not to. Most Pink Holly Bush patterns are also designed for knits. That's how we get that easy care. So let me talk a little bit today about the different knits that you might want to pick out for children's clothes, why I recommend those, and then some places you can find those particular fabrics. And then I'm also going to give you, as I said, 2 that I kind of recommend you sort of avoid. Okay, so let's delve in. Number 1, my all-time favorite, if you can find it, it's getting harder and harder, is 100% cotton interlock. I just love this fabric. It's soft, it feels great. It doesn't have the curl, right? So it's very easy to sew with, and if you can find it, it is my favorite fabric. I wish more people were manufacturing it. I do have some recommendations where you can find some of it, but I do have to say it is getting more and more difficult. Okay, but that is my favorite. If you are smocking it, let me just give a caveat. You do want to pick an interlock that is no more than 220 GSM, and that's grams per square meter. Above that, you're going to start breaking needles in the pleater. So there are some cotton interlocks out there that are heavier than 220. They're beautiful fabrics, but not great to smock. Okay. My second favorite fabric is a cotton spandex or lycra jersey. You're looking for one that is 95 to 97% cotton and 3 to 5% spandex or lycra. Lycra is the same thing as spandex if you're in the UK or in Europe. It might be called elastine. All 3 of those things are the exact same thing. Lycra is the trade name owned by the DuPont company. Okay, but same fabric. That is the fabric you will find most of the time. It's your wonderful, nice, solid cotton jersey, and it just works great for children's clothes. So the only really downside, about it is it's got that curl. And yeah, the curl, it does. So if you are going to smock it, you want to be looking for 175 to 220 GSM, and that's going to be considered a mid-weight cotton jersey. And I prefer that for children's clothes, period. It just has a little bit more heft. You can find lightweight cotton jerseys that are going to be below that 175. Those are more like your t-shirt knits, a very thin sort of t-shirt knit. It really doesn't, I think, hold up to what children put it through. So I hesitate to use that when I'm sewing. But if you are smocking it, it really is pretty lightweight. It doesn't have enough substance to hold the shape of the pleats. So you want to avoid that lightweight one. You want to get at least 175 GSM, and again, up to 220 in that range would work well. Again, if you're smocking, I also recommend that you not pre-wash it. Pre-washing and then drying the cotton jersey exacerbates the curl. And that is a problem when you're going to put it through the pleater. So if that is the case, I do recommend, knits do shrink. So what I do is I just cut the piece with extra length, pleat it, then wash it and dry it so that you it can then do its shrinking, but I've given some extra length to the piece. So hope that helps in that area. Okay, so we have our second one, which is our cotton jersey. The third knit that I recommend is a French terry. Now, French terry has become really popular. It is a jersey. It's still a single knit. It still has a little bit of that curl, but not as much as the cotton jersey. The loops on the back of the French jersey, that really helps it lay flatter and makes it an easier knit to work with. Not as easy as that cotton interlock, but so it's in between the cotton jersey and the cotton interlock. Now, you cannot smock it. So let me just warn you about that. The texture on the back of the French terry goofs up the pleats. You will not, it does not pleat. I learned this the hard way, so forget that. Well, I should say, if you want to hand pleat it, that might work, but it's not going through the pleater. And I can't promise you the hand pleating works either. I haven't tried that. So, but it is a great fabric for children's clothes. It absolutely would work with pink holly bush patterns if you are not smocking them. Now with French terry, you do need to check out that GCM. It really comes in very different GCMs. You would want to, again, for children's clothes, you would want to be under that 220, even though you're not smocking it. When you get above 220, that's going to be more of a like a more of a sweatshirt weight. You're not going to want to make a dress out of that. So if you're using it for a dress or a skirt or one of the pink holly bush patterns, you're going to want a lightweight French terry. And you might even want to take some volume out of the skirts. So I would just reduce the width of the pattern piece. For example, if you were making the rosy dress, right? Because the skirts are wide enough to accommodate the smocking. So if you're making a gathered version and you're using French terry, I would cut the width of the skirt pattern piece down a little bit. Okay, so what don't I recommend and why? Okay, so the first one, I shouldn't say don't recommend it. It depends. Okay, let's say it depends, and that is a knit that has rayon, bamboo, viscose, cupra, tencel. Again, those are all the same thing, but they're different names for them. Okay, but what all of those do, they're all different types of rayon. What all of those do is add quite a bit of drape to the fabric. Now that's not a bad thing, right? But it is if you're trying to smock it. So if you're considering smocking it, you do not want it, just your pleats will just be too wobbly. So you do want to stay away from that. Again, if you were just doing a gathered, like if you were going to make the little rosy dress and you were just going to gather the skirts, then having a cotton bamboo knit or a cotton visco knit would be fine. So that's the one with the little caveat. The last one that I'm not really crazy about, and that's the double brushed poly. Now why? Well, it is very soft. There's no question about that. but it does not breathe. So I am, you know, if you want to give it a try, it will work. It will work. You even can smock it, and I do have a whole video on that, and I will link to it. It will pleat up, and you can smock it. Again, I'm just not crazy about it because it doesn't breathe. I also, when you're sewing with it, it is, I find, a little bit more of a slippery fabric. You wouldn't think that just when you feel it, but when you actually go to sew with it, I just don't find that it's the easiest thing to work with. I find it's a little difficult to work with. So if you're new to working with knits, if you're hesitant, I would go with one of the cotton knits and avoid the double brush poly. Okay, I promised you some resources about where you could find these. So where do you find them? And let me give you a couple brand names, and then you can go looking for them. So as far as brand names go, Stoff Knits, Art Gallery Knits, Robert Kaufman, their Laguna line. All of those are wonderful cotton jersey knits. They, the Art Gallery is 175 GSM, the Robert Kaufman is 183 GSM, and the Stoff of Denmark varies between 195 and that 220. So all of them work beautifully. I've pleated all of them, and I've made children's clothes out of all of them. And in fact, behind me, the little rosy dress, the blue one is a Stoff. The red hanging up is a solid Art Gallery. So yeah, those will all be wonderful knits to work with. If you are in the US, Joann's Pop line makes an interlock. They also make a jersey. The jersey is really too lightweight, but the interlock is lovely, and I've made a lot of things out of that. I also have a video that I will link to that you can go check out, a review on that. And the big thing to warn you about that is they shrink significantly. Like a yard shrinks by 3 inches. So you definitely do want to pre-wash the interlock, put it in the dryer before you sew with it. Couple other places to check out for knits. There is Hawthorne Supply Company, Raspberry Creek Fabrics, and knitfabric.com. Now, all of those will have the cotton lycra knit. The Raspberry Creek and the Hawthorne Supply Company both offer print-on-demand services, and you can get their fabrics printed on a cotton interlock. So a little bit pricier, but if you would like you know, if you would like that cotton interlock, and you find in their choice of their fabric library a print you love, you can have it printed on the cotton interlock. They also will print on cotton jersey, so you have that option as well. Knitfabric.com is just a great place. They have a bunch of different cotton lycra prints. They also offer a lot of French jersey prints. The French terry, I'm sorry, I'm saying jersey too much. The French terry prints. Do check out the GSM if you're going with the French terry, as I said before. But all of those would be some options to help you just find some beautiful knit fabrics to create your next garment for a child that you love. So if this video has been helpful for you and you would like more tips on how to sew garments that children are going to adore, there is a link below. I have a free PDF that gives you more tips as well as resources on where you can find some of these things. Be sure to click on that below and grab your copy. And I hope that you are able to sew something wonderful today. Happy sewing.